The illusion of strength. Marcus Aurelius believed that endurance was the high ground, that suffering was the crucible of character. But suffering alone doesn't make you wise, it just makes you quieter. Nietzsche wouldn't call that strength, he'd call it a negotiation with pain, and he hated negotiations. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. But sometimes there's no meaning, only consequence. Seneca might have nodded, poured the wine, and said, "We are more often frightened than hurt." He meant well, but let's be honest, it wasn't fear that broke you, it was trust. And who told you to trust? The system, the ideal, the illusion that if you just stay kind, composed, patient, you'll win. Machiavelli wouldn't wait to be rewarded. He'd rig the contest, shift the pieces, whisper in both ears. He believed appearances mattered more than reality. You endure, you detach, you breathe. But none of that stops the betrayal, because stillness isn't always strategy. Sometimes it's paralysis in costume. Sometimes it's you giving away your sword while telling yourself that makes you noble. When philosophy becomes a cage. Self-awareness was supposed to be your freedom, but somewhere along the way, it became your leash. You learned to breathe, to regulate, to pause before you speak, and now they use that pause to cut in. You became emotionally intelligent, and that made you predictable, because the calmer you became, the easier you were to manipulate. You thought you were evolving, but you were just being domesticated. Marcus told you to rise above. Seneca told you to prepare for loss. But neither warned you what happens when the world keeps taking and never stops. Because this world doesn't reward control. It exploits it. Nietzsche didn't believe in balance, he believed in fire, in becoming something new through total collapse. Not healing, transcending. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. But what if the how is humiliation? What if the why isn't yours? What if it's inherited from podcast monks and paperback prophets selling calm in a burning world? You scroll, you nod, you quote, and when the betrayal comes, you don't resist. You retreat into Marcus like he's a shield. He isn't. He's a journal entry, not a strategy. Machiavelli would laugh, then whisper something useful. Men forget more easily the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. Power plays memory like a violin. Philosophy just writes the eulogy. Seneca said time heals, but time doesn't care. And reason doesn't always reach where betrayal cuts. You've been told that calm is strength. But calm, repeated too long, looks like consent. And silence? It's not always wisdom. Sometimes, it's just exhaustion, dressed in discipline. Noble men, ugly results. Marcus ruled wisely, journaled daily, lived humbly, but Rome still burned. His son Commodus became a tyrant in silk. While Marcus wrote of duty, his heir wrote in blood. Philosophy doesn't pass through bloodlines. It barely survives your own. You can master yourself, but you can't inoculate others from chaos. Legacy is fragile, and sometimes wisdom dies with the man who wrote it. Seneca mentored Nero. He taught him restraint, stoic ethics, control of the self, but you can't teach depth to a shallow man. Nero set fire to the city, then to his own soul. And Seneca? He was forced to die by the very emperor he tried to civilize. Clarity without leverage is just a slow execution. And then there's Nietzsche. He didn't just see the void, he named it. He predicted what no one dared admit, that modern man would lose faith and replace it with noise. He warned us that without purpose, we'd drown in distractions. He saw the rot under morality, the mask beneath religion, the hollowness behind progress. but no one understood. They called him mad, because nothing terrifies the herd more than a man with vision and no leash. His words were not for healing. They were for rebirth, violent, sacred, honest. He didn't go mad because he broke. He went mad because he saw too much, too early, too alone. Then came the scavengers, fascists, frauds, philosophers by algorithm. They cherry-picked his rage, misquoted his depth, turned a prophet into a Pinterest board. And Machiavelli? He didn't raise monsters, he studied them. He wrote a manual for power, because he knew pretending the world was fair would get you buried. He mapped manipulation, then was exiled for it. He handed out the blueprint, but never got to use it. All four men sought clarity, but clarity doesn't mean control. In fact, it rarely survives contact with reality, because chaos doesn't read, it watches, it waits, and when you're unarmed, it smiles. The pattern? The wisest men in history could not stop the collapse they saw coming. The mask economy. Marcus meditated in silence. You post meditations to Instagram. Seneca wrote to one friend. You broadcast reflections to strangers. Nietzsche would spit on your algorithm. Machiavelli would own it, monetize it, brand it, then use your data against you. Authenticity now comes with hashtags. Vulnerability gets monetized. You confess to a lens, not a person. Be wary of the man who smiles too often. Even Nietzsche knew the happy man was often the most dangerous, because he has nothing to lose or he's lying. You wear a mask to be accepted. Then you resent the people who never meet the real you. But the truth is, you made that mask. You fed it likes, you refined it. Now you can't take it off without losing the audience that came to applaud the performance. Maybe your loneliness isn't a condition. Maybe it's a protest. Maybe the part of you that still hurts is the only part that's honest. What they got wrong. Marcus, endurance without suspicion is surrender. Seneca, reflection without protection is an open wound. Nietzsche, fire without direction just burns. Machiavelli, strategy without soul is rot in slow motion. Each man gave you a blade, but no one told you when to unsheath it. Marcus endured, until his legacy fell into tyranny. Seneca preached calm until it got him killed. Nietzsche screamed into voids until madness made him inaudible. Machiavelli whispered to princes, but died in exile, forgotten. Stop worshiping names, start stealing tools. From Marcus, take discipline, but marry it to awareness. From Seneca, take clarity, but back it with readiness. From Nietzsche, take the flame, but point it. From Machiavelli, take precision, but anchor it in something real. From yourself, take what they couldn't give you, context. Because you're not living in Rome. You're living in a world that profits off confusion. So use their words, yes, but write your own ending. Dead honest. Final truth. Here's what no one tells you. The world doesn't want you healed. It wants you predictable. So you quote Marcus, but you never confront. You read Seneca, but you never refuse. You admire Machiavelli, but you never plot. You echo Nietzsche, but you never become. What good are their words if you never move? Dead honest. You don't need another quote. You need a weaponized mind. Start small. Speak once when you usually swallow it. Walk away from the applause. Make a move without posting it. Because Marcus endured, Nietzsche exploded, Seneca submitted, Machiavelli maneuvered. And you? You still think your stillness is enough. It isn't. Your silence is the script, and someone else is writing the ending. If this felt like truth disguised as pain, subscribe. We don't comfort, we reveal. Share this with someone who hides behind quotes, then stop hiding too.